Hello, everybody. It is the Witty Writers Show. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and I'm here with the wonderful Shytei Corellian.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
I'm so
Hello,
glad.
the West Coast.
I'm so glad I got your name right.
Oh, you did. Well done. I know that might be the scariest part of the whole interview, really.
It is.
Oh, we got that out of the way. We can just go for it now. We can just relax and just have a good time.
Oh my God. Shytei, you have the most beautiful name. I wish I could think of names as beautiful as yours when I'm writing my own books, because it's gorgeous. I love it. It's like posh, elegant, and unusual, all rolled into one.
Well, thank you, because I guess most names could be considered that if you go back far enough, but it's completely made up. Shytei is actually from the book that we'll be talking about today. And Corellian is my husband at the time, back in the 90s. We changed our last name and ended up with Corellian from Star Wars at about 3 o'clock in the morning. We were trying to figure out a new last name that would work, and we were going through names for like 5 hours and nothing would stick. And then we were just laying there. We were just exhausted. We were like just drunk with exhaustion at this point. And he's like, Han Solo. Where was Han Solo from? And I was like, Han Solo was from Corellia, from the planet Corellia. So he was a Corellian. And as soon as I said Corellian, it's like, boom, the lights went off in both of our eyes. And we're like, that's it. We're doing it. Now, changing your name is a lot of work, but now 25 years later, totally worth it. I love it. And I've kept it as my writer name. And yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I've got to say, as a huge Star Wars fan,
are you
more? Yeah.
That is great.
I love anything sci-fi, fantasy. I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked.
That makes me so happy.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been so stoked. I really have.
Thank you so much for having me. Well, I appreciate it.
You are one of those writers and authors that, again, wears many hats, and you're so artistic. And for those of you who are joining us right now, please pop up and say hello in the comments. We'd love to give you a shout out. But you're an award-winning author. I've had to write this down. A filmmaker, screenwriter, poet, meditation counselor, and this one, I wasn't even sure how to pronounce it. Explain to me what it is. A Qigong?
Yeah, Qigong or Qigong. Yeah, either way.
I knew I'd get it wrong.
No, I'm sure the Chinese are like, it doesn't matter. None of you Westerners are gonna get it right no matter what you do. So they just are like, whatever. Just say it as best you can.
The Chinese are probably cringing as I said it.
Oh, me too. I'm sure. I've heard it both ways. Qigong. Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I used to do Taekwondo, and some people pronounce that quite wrong. But
yeah,
the only reason I could pronounce that right is because I actually did it. So what is that then?
Qigong is. Have you heard of Tai Chi or Tai Chi Quan?
Yes, that's the meditation and the movements, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's kind of. That's probably what it's most similar to is Tai Chi or Tai Chi Quan, which I studied that. Well, I studied that first and got a black belt in that and then became an instructor in that for about a minute. But then I eventually branched off into Qigong. So Tai Chi is more like, for example, it took me 1 year to learn one form in Tai Chi. So it took a year to learn every movement of this form exactly, and then to be able to run the thing without making any mistakes. Whereas Qigong, I can teach you some Qigong moves in a half hour, and you can apply it and you can use it. Now I'm still building on my own Qigong practice. It's been over 25 years now, but I can give you something usable within a half an hour in Qigong that you can use and you can apply every morning if it's 3 minutes or 5 minutes. So if you know Tai Chi, you'll recognize some of the movements in Qigong, but you don't need that like heavy duty, in depth discipline, everything exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's quicker, it's more applicable, and you get benefits really, really fast from Qigong, and yeah, it's just fun. So I've moved over into that and kind of moved away from the Tai Chi, because you get the meditation, you get the exercise, you get the spiritual aspect, you get the movement, you get it all in one sweet little package with Qigong, and I just love that. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's amazing. No wonder you're able to do all this other activities, because you're doing all this meditation to cope.
Yeah, no, the meditation. I joke because I'm like I don't drink because I'm allergic to fermentation. I can't do anything. I don't have anything. My only thing I have is my Qigong and my meditation practice. So yeah, it's definitely saved my life.
I tell you what, I think you're absolutely amazing. And for those of you who have joined us, newly joined us, because I see people popping on. So just to give you a quick rundown, Shytei is an award-winning author, filmmaker, screenwriter, poet, Qigong, and meditation counselor. So no wonder you do all the meditation with all this other work you're doing. Amazing. We've got lots of people joining us, so I'm going to pop them up on screen. Make sure you say hello, everybody. Would love to see you. Aaron's doing a laughing smiley face.
Oh, very good. Hello, Aaron.
Heather's joined us. She says hello.
Hello, Heather. Thank you for being here.
We got James. He says greetings from West Virginia.
Hello, West Virginia.
Yes, and I'm glad you joined us again, James, because James actually won the giveaway from my author interview with Lydia Niebuhr. So James has actually won a book from Lydia. So
beautiful. He gets the crown, man.
Yes, congratulations, James. Well done, you winner. Aaron says, you two are hilarious. We try, Aaron. We try.
Oh, man. Thank you, Aaron.
Josephine has joined us from the UK. She says, hello to you both and good evening.
Good evening. Hey to you two UKers. What time is it in the UK?
Late. They're 8 hours ahead of us. So
so they're living in the future. Beautiful.
They are. It's a miracle she's managed to stay up for us, bless her. Mary's joined us, who's another author.
Mary. No, Mary. Hello.
And and James has given us the okay. I'm absolutely fascinated and blown away by you. I really, really am, Shytei, because you've done so many different arts, and I do see any type of writing as an art form. And you have to use just as much imagination and skill as you do a painting. It takes a lot of effort. Yeah. So what started with you? Was it the poetry that started you off, or writing stories? How did you start on this journey?
It was the writing of stories. I wrote my first short story at 9. It was a little contest, a little Halloween contest. They're like at school, they're like, write a Halloween contest and write a little story and enter it in the contest. And so I was so excited. And I saw this little picture in my head of this cat. And I was like, sweet. So I started to write. I wrote it down, but I wanted it to look professional for the contest. So then when I got it all written, I went to my mom and I said, can you type this up on your typewriter? She had one of those old Smith Corona typewriters, those big beasts that weigh like 60 pounds with the big ching, 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 ching. Yeah, so she typed it up for me, and I was so excited, and I took it to school, and I entered it in the contest, and then never heard anything. And the weeks went by, and I was like, that's weird. I thought the contest. And then one day I get home from school, and my mom wasn't there, which was weird. And she said, I was called in to your school. And I was like, that's weird. Okay. And so I know, like, what happened? I couldn't think of anything. I always had to be perfect. And she comes home and she says, actually, it was about the little story you wrote for the Halloween contest. And I said, yeah, what happened? And she said, well, they told me that I should talk to you about plagiarism. She said they threw it out of the contest on the sole grounds of no 9-year-old could have written that. So I must have, they didn't say where I had gotten it from, nothing else, and I remember because I'd been sitting in class, and I look back now, and it was definitely one of the pivotal moments of my life, I think, because I remember sitting in class, and the teacher went up to the board, and he wrote this word across it, plagiarism. And I was like, and all of us little kids were like, what? We were 9 years old. What is that? But as he was explaining what this word was, he kept looking at me, and I was getting more nervous and more nervous, and I felt sick inside, and I was so scared. And then, come to find out, my mom's like, well, that's crap, because I saw her write it, and she was telling me about it. I typed it up on my computer, you know what I mean? And they're like, well, so that was how my writing career started.
Oh my gosh.
was with them accusing, you know what I mean?
Right now.
Anyway, yeah. So I kind of went, now I'm kind of flattered the fact that they said no 9-year-old could have written this. So I'm, now I will take it as a compliment. But back then, so I kind of went into the closet. So when I started to write novels at 14, I really didn't tell anybody about it. I just would write in my room. I was a weird little kid. Like, where's your friends? What are you doing? I would just write alone in my room. Just every chance I got, I was alone in my, and then I'd hide the pages. I'd get these pages and I'd hide them in like an old armoire or under my bed. And so I was probably 20 before I told a boy I had a crush on that I was a writer. Yeah. And I started writing at 14. I finished the first version of Wing and Neon, the book that we'll be talking about today, at 16 years old. And same thing, my mom, I asked her for another contest. I should have learned my lesson. For another contest, I asked my mom if she would also type this one up, 260 pages, chunk. And we were so excited. We stayed up all night. And then we drove it to Salt Lake to enter into this contest. And we handed it to the ladies at the desk like 5 minutes before the deadline was up. And the ladies looked at it and they handed it right back to my mom and said, you can't enter this. And she's like, why? And they said, because it's not double spaced.
No.
Isn't that insane? We stayed up for like 36 hours because we didn't find out about the contest until it was time, trying to type this thing up. And my mom on that old, with the whiteout, correcting errors. Oh, God. Anyway. So writing came first. Poetry happened, as I think a lot of poetry does, which is when you're depressed or having a really hard time in life, the best poetry comes out of that. So poetry was more of therapy. And then the screenwriting happened about 3 or 4 years ago when I met my current partner. And we've been together 5 years, and he's a filmmaker. And we wanted to film something that we could afford to shoot on a budget. And I'm like, well, I only write big, epic, visionary fiction. We can't film that on a budget, So I wrote a little story that turned into a reincarnation story, but we shot that. And that was the one that, I think we won 20-something different little awards and laurels, and went to a bunch of film festivals and got to go to Hollywood with that one. And so that's kind of how the screenwriting started.
It's amazing how things, even the most disappointing things can actually help shape you and be beneficial in the long run. I've got a quick funny story to tell you with regards to my eldest son when he was at school.
Yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, my husband and I couldn't believe it. But they'd just learnt in school, this was in, I suppose you would say, elementary school, the end of elementary school, I suppose you would say. And they'd be learning about the world wars, World War I, World War II, and, countries and Germany invading and everything else.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Then they had to do this short story, and they were given a title, and it said, it was like Ben and Alice looked out of the window to see.
Okay.
And then they had to carry that writing prompt and do a full story.
Right.
Well, being a boy and being very interested in the army, even from a young age, and because he'd just done the world wars, World War I, World War II, they looked out the window to see the Germans coming.
Oh, I knew you saw that.
He did a proper World War story about the Germans coming, trying to get into the house, them trying to fend them off. It was so well written. When he brought it home, I'm like, good for you, son. That's
amazing.
It was proper graphic in places, people's legs being blown off and everything.
Right.
And,
my gosh.
Oh, yeah. And his teachers called us in and gave him a D for this story. Oh, I was fuming.
No way.
This is outrageous. So I went into school and I said, I do not understand why you gave my son a D for this written story. Well, it's a bit graphic and it's all got war and battles. I'm like, are you surprised? You literally 3 days ago told him about World War II. So
good for you. Oh my gosh.
I demanded that they regrade it because
good for you.
Be giving him extra grades that he paid attention in your previous lessons.
Right. And that he has that kind of imagination that he's looked at and he could envision the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. He should have gotten A+, buddy. What's above an A+ for that? Yeah, that's amazing. And good for you for being the mom and going in there and saying, no, this is not right. What is wrong with you? You just inundated them, and especially a boy, you know what I mean, with all these images of war, and then he writes about it, and you're giving him a D? No.
Yes.
No, that does not stand. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. I love moms.
Oh my God.
Just go into battle. I just love it.
You've got to, haven't you? You've got to.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
So, I mean, you've been on quite an adventure, and especially with your books as well, because, by the way, congratulations, because you're now publishing through a publisher, which is super exciting.
It is.
You've been quite the journey, haven't you? Because you started off as a self-published author with multiple books that you've done all yourself, and I commend you for that, because as a self-published author, I know how much hard work it is. So how did you go from self-publishing to actually getting a publisher?
Just holy cow. Yeah. So I, as I said, I was a writer for a really long time and self-published a couple times, and then Amazon arrived. And so that made everything just so much easier. But, all along, I probably spent maybe probably more like 12, 13 years doing the classic querying of publishers. You know what I mean? Send out the query. And in all that time, every rejection was not taking new authors, not taking that genre, not taking on any new, whatever it was. But the point is not one of them ever actually read the work. All the, rejections were just off of the query letter.
Yeah.
So that was depressing. I'm like, if I can't even get anybody to actually read the work. And then finally, one publisher actually, well, it wasn't the publisher, the owner. It was, one of the, they had their readers, their screener readers or whatever. So it made it through 4 of his screener reader people. I don't know what they're called. I'm sorry. I have no idea what they're called.
Perfect.
Yeah, but the first one, the screener reader, I'm sure somebody's just cringing like, oh God, that's not.
We know what you mean. That's all that matters.
Anyway, so it made it through the first one and the second one and the third one. And the fourth, and then finally made it to him, to the guy that made all the decisions, the owner of the publishing company. And he wrote me back a nice long letter and made a soft pass because he said he didn't know how to market it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this as a win, because the first people to actually read the work, it made it through everybody in the top guy. You know what I mean? So that was positive. And then I was a little frustrated because I'm like, well, isn't that your job to know how to market books? How do you not know? But again, my work fell in between genres. It didn't really match any genre well. And I had not heard of visionary fiction at the time. So I had no idea. It was just under epic fiction fantasy, which really didn't work. So anyway, so I kind of gave up querying. I'm like, it's getting nowhere. I'm just going to focus on the writing. If it happens, it happens. And, but every once in a while, I would send out tiny little queries, and then I just forget about them. You don't dwell, you just send them out and you just keep writing and doing your thing. And I wish I remembered now how I found VIZIA Publishing. I wish I could. I need to go back and figure out, because I'm going to be telling this story a lot. But I filled out there was, like a submissions. I filled out the submissions, letter or whatever, and just sent it off and was like, well, that's it for that. Like, 1,000 other times. And then I heard back, you know what I mean? I'm interested. Visionary fiction. And I was like, and as soon as I heard visionary fiction, I was like, oh my heck, yes. It was like a voice from above said the word. It was amazing. So I started talking with Aaron Yeagle over at VIZIA Fiction, and we talked back and forth. And within just, I don't know, a few weeks, I'd signed a contract with him, and we have been on our way. So yeah,
that's absolutely
exciting.
It goes to show how things can change, doesn't it? It really does. It's amazing. I'm just going to quickly pop a couple of people up that have just joined us. Wendy's joined us. She says, hello, ladies.
Hello, Wendy.
Thank you for joining us, darling. We've also got Sherry. Hi, Sherry. She says, hello, ladies. And James says, Shytei, should do stand-up.
I should do stand-up. Oh no! I was just saying the other day, I'm terrible at comedy. I'm so bad. Oh man, that's
obviously
great.
You're very good at comedy.
Thank you.
I've got to say, I sympathise with you greatly, and I mentioned this to one of the authors in mine and Autumn's writing group, which is Write Better, Author Smarter. Everybody, join today. I think half the time, because we were talking about blurbs this morning and I was helping him with his blurb, I think writing blurbs, query letters, and taglines that actually sell your book are sometimes harder to write than actually writing the book themselves.
Yes.
It's so tricky.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
It really is. I have lost count how many times I have rewritten a query letter. It's so tough, and I'm from a sales and marketing background, and it's still tough for me. Because when you write a full-on novel, trying to get that novel into 3 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs, a quick synopsis. It's the hardest thing ever.
Oh, it's so bad. I've had one, and it was for the screenplay that we did, and that was the only time a blurb or a tagline, and it just fell out of the sky, and it was Souls Travel in Packs. The name of the movie, the screenplay is called The Wolves. The name of the short film too is called The Wolves.
By the way, multiple awards.
Yeah, it was fun slapping the laurels on. I was like, make it smaller. We got to fit more on there. Yeah. But that was the only time that it was Souls Travel in Packs. Other than that, Wing and Neon. I've been with this book for over 30 years. I cannot figure out a tagline for that thing to save my life. I still can't.
Right. Do you know what? The best tip I can give any authors that are watching is listen to your beta readers. Beta readers are the best at describing your story in a short paragraph. Especially, when they've just read it and it's fresh in their mind. If you say to them, can you give me a quick, description of the book, the quick description of the story, because they've just read it and because they're, more detached than we are to the story. Right. They can come up with the best taglines ever.
Dude, that is so, because what's funny is I was reading on the VIZIA Publishing website, and Aaron came up with the perfect thing. The publisher. I was like,
where did that come from?
Well, there it is. Where did it come from? I'm like, that's it. That's perfect. Why has it been so hard for me for all these years? I'm like, okay, I need to copy and paste that and use that because, he nailed it. It's exactly what you said. Those beta readers, the outside people, they can tell you in a minute what they think it's about. And I was like, oh, man.
Exactly. Because as authors, because we've written the story, we think about the whole thing and we overthink it. But our readers and beta readers, ARC readers, they're not overthinking it. They're just enjoying the story. And the thing is that if they love a story, they're going to be telling their friends and saying, oh, it's a fantastic story. It's about this, got that, got this. Yeah. And that's the type of descriptions we want, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. And it's exactly, I wish I could be a fly on the wall. Okay, what did they say?
I
When
know,
somebody
right?
asked, what did they say?
Exactly. Beta
Oh,
readers
man.
are worth their weight in gold. They really
Oh,
are.
beautiful. Yeah, that's perfect.
Now, with your screenwriting, I mean, you're a fantastic novelist. You really, really are. How easy was it, or how difficult was it going from writing novels to actually writing a screenplay?
It was, I wish I had the best way to say this. In one way, it was really easy. I was able to just sit down and just boom, 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 boom. And it was just done. And I was like, damn, that was a lot easier than I thought it was. The only thing that was hard about it was the tense. Because in screenplays, it's all in the present. It's all present moment action. And in books, it's, you know,
You're
in the
telling us all
past.
what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So I would find that there have been a few times I've been typing along, doing, working on a screenplay, and I realized I just wrote it in novel form. And I was like, oh, shit, okay. So then I have to go back and I have to make everything in present tense action. You know what I mean? So that really, for me, as far as, that has been the hardest thing, is getting the tenses, you know what I mean, correct. But, other than that, I've adapted 2 of my novels into screenplays. And then someone else's, I had a contract to adapt someone else's novel into a screenplay, and then one original. But yeah, that's been the biggest thing is, is just getting the tenses right. Cause I'm still so used to, I still prefer novel writing, and I'm so used to writing in that tense, is this and this and this as a narrator happened, instead of versus a screenplay of this is happening right now. Joe is running, not Joe ran. Joe is running towards the hot dog stand or whatever. I don't know.
Did you do any preparation before you started screenwriting? Did you look at other screenplays, or do any courses, or did you just think, I'm just going to have a go and improve as I go along?
Yes, exactly. No, the courses and classes and stuff never done much for me. So I've never read anything about how to write a screenplay. I probably should, but I haven't. What I did was I just looked up Avatar. I just looked up the Avatar screenplay by James Cameron, and that was my guide. And I was just like, oh, this is how he words this, and this is how he words that. And then I found out later that was kind of a mistake because he's the director. And screenplays are different depending on whether you're writing it for you as the director and how you want to shoot the film versus trying to sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
So there are differences there in how you need to write a screenplay, which I learned as I went along just by making a bunch of mistakes. Because heaven forbid I should learn from somebody else's problems,
I was just going to say, I mean, to learn from it than James Cameron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, James was great, right? And I was kind of thinking of it in a way from if I was going to be the director. So I'm like, well, this works out for me, but I'm going to have to change some things if we decide to just try and sell it, to somebody with the big money to make it. But yeah, the same thing when I was a kid, 16 or 17, someone convinced me to take a writing class, and I attended less than like 2 or 3 classes because they're like, this is how you write. You have to have the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you have to have it all laid out, and you have to do your characters, and you have to do all this crap. And I was like, well, I am so SOL then because that is not how I work at all. So nothing the experts say of how to do things has ever worked for me anyway. So that's why I'm like, meh, I'm just gonna do my thing and and just hope that works out because how anyone else says to do it is just not how I function, and it's just taking my flow away from me. You know what I mean? I sit down and I start to write.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And do you know what? I think all writers are so different. And I think that is the same whether you're writing novels, screenplays, or any other type of written work. Yeah. We're all so different. I'm friends with authors who plan so
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and I thought, oh, maybe that's the way to do it then. So with book 1, I just went with the flow. I didn't plan anything. I just wrote it as it formed in my head, and then went back, did the editing, added, took stuff out, and so on and so on. With book 2, I thought, oh, maybe I should be a bit more organized and plan. It completely ruined my flow.
Oh, it didn't work for you, huh? Oh no.
No. And my character, I'm trying to lead my characters down this way, and my characters are like, no, we want to go down that way. So I just gave up and I thought, I'm just going to do what works for me. So it is a very individual process, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think for any writer, there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever works.
I think it'd be a lot easier sometimes to plan it out, but I'm like you. Sometimes I've started to like, I'm going to write the character this way. And then they're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. That's completely wrong. You know? So we're like, okay, backtrack. We will backtrack. And then we will proceed again at your, as you are ready. So exactly. I think it's a big difference, between a more intuitive way of going about it and a more structured way. And like you said, I don't think either way is wrong. I think whatever is right is what works the best for you. You know what I mean? Whatever gets you there. So yeah, absolutely.
And again, I mean, I was so super excited to talk to you today because not only are you absolutely amazing, but it's great to hear from somebody who has actually gone from novel writing and then into the screenwriting. I've had so many, and I don't mean this as in a bragging thing at all. I've had so many comments and messages from people saying, oh my God, your books need to be movies. It's like a movie in my head. And for a writer, you can't get a better compliment than that.
Right, isn't it? Oh, to hear that that they would love to see it on the big screen.
Yeah. And for them to visualize what you're writing, I think is a huge bonus. So it is something that I've considered doing myself, because I think, if you get told something so many times, you should pay attention to it. So I'm hoping to sort of go down that route.
That road, yeah.
Is there, for any authors who are watching that are also feeling the same way and thinking the same way, is there any advice or tips that you can give us from your experience on the best route, or any programs that you found that have helped you? What sort of little gems do you have?
Just spend the money and get final draft. Just do it. I struggled along on other formats, and I struggled along with the free Celtics, and but just spend the money and just get final draft. It'll make your whole world so much better. Other than that, you can, I think, starting out adapting, if you're already a novelist, which it seems like that's what, what we're talking about here. If you don't know a screenwriter who is willing to work for free or for cookies or whatever, then adapting one of your own to start out with makes it super easy, because then you're not trying to come up with the story. You're just learning the structure of screenwriting. You know what I mean? You're learning because it's all, what are the words? Not like acronyms, it's all like, you got to know what all the terms mean, and, get your scene headings and your, inside, outside, exterior, interiors, all of that stuff. Yeah. And you can learn all of that. Yeah. Really easy. That's not hard. So starting out with your own book, and adapting that, is a really, really good place to start. Yeah. Because then you're not worried about the story. Then you're just focused on, okay, how do I write a screenplay? How do I structure this? And, and then if that works out, then you can learn on your own stuff. You know what I mean? And then if you ever get to the point that you want to write an original screenplay, then you'll have the structure down, and then you can think about the story, so you're not trying to do too many things at the same time.
That is very, very good advice. Very good advice. We've got some more people that have joined us. I'm going to pop them on screen. We've got Francisco who's joined us. He says,
hello. Hi. Oh, that's fun.
Aaron has very kindly posted your release schedule.
Thank you, Aaron.
So beautiful. That is in the comments, and that is The Wing and Nian, which is the leader of Legend. Ooh, super exciting. It really is. It's super exciting. Okay, let's have a look. Has anyone else watched? I've got a comment on here, but I'm not sure if I should post it because I don't quite understand what is it in relation to.
Is it about the pants?
Yes. I'm like,
so I was like, I don't know if, because you know all the Zoom jokes about everybody's just doing Zoom in their underwear, you know what I mean? Because you can only see them. And so I was like, somebody should ask her what pants I'm wearing. And my sister couldn't be here today, but in case, here we are for the big reveal.
There
Yoda.
we go. She's wearing pants.
I'm wearing pants. Baby Yoda. So in case, I have a lot of funny pants. I have cat pants. I have space pants. So my friends were like, okay, what pants will she be wearing? But I'm wearing baby, since we're Star Wars fans, not Baby Yoda pants. These, it is Grogu.
I love them. They are
awesome.
I've got to say, Michelle, you had me a bit worried there for a minute because I wasn't sure what you was getting at. I thought
that's brilliant. I know. I was like, I should just start changing pants. I should I should have the Yoda pants on and then put on my space pants and then my cat pants and just keep going.
I'm just glad you're wearing some. That's all.
Like, just as long as you're wearing something, dear. That's good.
I've got to say, I have seen so many funny videos where people, as you said, think that they think they've clicked off and they haven't.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. I am so careful. I mean,
great. You should do like a blooper reel. I think Aaron did a little blooper reel after we did our podcast, and it was pretty funny. Yeah, the blooper. People probably, like, to be fair, I'm way more interested about the stupid thing that's going on behind the camera than. Oh, that's great.
I think one of the funniest ones I've seen, I've just got to tell you, was this guy. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I'm laughing so much. There was this one guy, and he was a lawyer. Yeah, it is lawyer. You call them. We call them solicitors, but lawyer.
I like solicitors.
Yeah, solicitors.
That's wonderful.
What we call them. It doesn't sound too good here, though, does it? When you're soliciting.
Perfect. I love it. Oh, geez.
He had a meeting with another lawyer and a judge to discuss this case or something like that. Yeah. And I don't know whether he'd used this filter or whether one of his kids did this filter, but he won the call and he was a cat.
I saw that. Was that England? Was that the UK? Was that somebody there? No, it was just okay. But I saw that, and he couldn't figure out with the judge how to get the cat face to go away.
I'm really sorry about this, but it's like the cat talking. That killed me.
If that judge didn't let him off, then shame on him. Shame on him if he did not let him off with the cat face.
Oh no, it was one of the, and they're so realistic now. These filters look so good. Look,
they're great. Oh yeah, I did see that one too, and I was dying. I was just dying. Yeah, I'm like, okay, I got to hit pause and catch my breath because that was too funny.
My kids send me the best videos I've ever. It really is hilarious. Christine has joined us.
Hello, Christine.
Author. Hello, Christine, my darling. And so James says, Shay, have you tried any of the software that makes a book into a screenplay? Oh, good question.
Whoa. I have not. Very interesting. Wow. Now there is a quick way to go about it. Can we do the copy, paste, drag, drop?
Yeah.
No, I have not. That's amazing.
But that does bring me to my next question, because obviously, a novel and a screenplay are so different. Mm-hmm. And we know from previous shows that we've done that a certain amount of time equals a certain amount of pages.
Right.
So how difficult was it for you to pick out what you wanted to include in the screenplay and leave out from the book?
Oh, horrible. So the second novel that I'll be publishing through VIZIA is called Son of the Metna. And it's a different world from the leader of legend saga will be 4 books, of which Wing and Nian is the first. This is Son of the Metna is going to be, it might be 2 books. We'll see how that goes. But right now it's 1 book. And I think that might be, I don't know, Erin, I might need to look at the publishing schedule. I may be speaking out of turn. But that one was one of my first adaptations I made from one of my own novels. And it was brutal. It was like 168 pages to the first thing. And I had to keep chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. I'm like, I can't pull out anymore. This is killing me. You know what I mean? I think I finally got it down to 147. And that was when I submitted to the famous, is it the Nichols screenplay? I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, and they just said same thing. You got to keep cutting this down. You know, we got to get it to 120 pages, baby. You know, 2 hours. So, that's hard when you're just the action. You know what I mean? I'm like, but it's such a beautiful world and it's so rich with all this stuff. And I'm like, no, keep falling. Yeah. So that was hard. That's a very good question because that was very hard. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. So 120 pages equals 2 hours.
Yeah. Now, if you're a famous director, you can do Avatar and you can go for 5 hours if you want. But
exactly. We'll
for the small time, you got to keep it to 2 hours or preferably less.
Yeah. So. It's normally about the 90 minutes length, isn't it? I think that
a lot of them are short and fast, man. Yeah, just stick to the points. Yep.
Exactly. Oh, that's very, very interesting. And James, if you know of any software that has been recommended, put it in the comments for people who are joining us, because any information like that shared is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So let's have a look.
Who knows? The AI might write a better screenplay. Like, here's the book. AI, make it into an awesome movie. 118 pages, please. And then just walk away. Go have a donut, you know.
I know. It's interesting because, I mean, maybe it just makes it easier for you to put it into sections, you know, if you're using some sort of program. But I don't think any type of automated system can make up for emotions that humans feel for a particular scene, whether it be action, loss, a really emotional scene. Computers can't analyze that or say, this is a real tearjerker moment, we need that in. So
this is for sure.
I think it's probably best to do it just yourself, because you and your beta readers know your story better than anyone else and how it makes you feel.
Yeah. And really, at the end of the day, isn't that everything? I mean, I don't remember details of anything really in my life, but I always remember how something made me feel. Always, whether it's a movie or a book or a person, whatever it is, I don't ever remember the details, but I remember how it made me feel every time. Yeah, and that stays with you. Yeah,
I went to the movie. I've read the book, but I went to the movie theater to see Fault in Our Stars with my youngest daughter.
Have you
seen that?
No, I have not read the book. I did see the movie.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I cried like a baby when I read the book.
Oh,
when you actually watch it, oh my goodness!
Yeah,
because I'm
getting chills because it does. It's how it makes you feel, right?
Yes, I watched it from the kids' point of view, their friendship and the loss and everything else. But I was also watching it from a parent's point of view, thinking, "Oh my God, if that was one of my kids."
Oh! I can't imagine watching it from a parent's point of view. Oh.
Shytei, I couldn't even talk.
So hard.
Finished. Me and my daughter were so emotional we couldn't even speak to each other. We were walking to the
car. In the car, like
we were like, that was the best movie. Couldn't speak.
See, so magical, and I'm so glad that translated from the book to the movie. You know what I mean? That they, were clearly both fantastic. Yeah,
it was a choker. I call that a choker because it felt like everything was so tight in my throat where I was so emotional.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we've got some more comments, so I'm going to pop them on. Michael says, Michelle says, me too, and I tuned in late, so I wasn't sure if I missed it. Well, we're glad you are here now, Michelle. We really, really are.
Hi, dear.
Mary says, from the get-go, readers wanted either a movie, audiobook, or graphic novel of mine to the future. Absolutely. Yes. I think definitely we should listen to our readers, and if they really do love your work so much that they want to see it on the big screen, I think we should pay attention to that, shouldn't we? Because they're the best judges of our work, really. Yeah. Shytei, Mary says, promise to buy it, Shytei. She's so lovely.
You, Mary.
She really is. Michelle says, I completely understand. Gosh, so many comments. There we go. Michelle says, with regards to the pants.
Oh, the pants. Yes.
I was almost afraid
to ask. She's like, no, please don't stand up. Sit down. Just stay sitting down.
That is so funny.
That's good.
Shane's joined us. He says, it's me. I'm here. I'm not a cat.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh, my goodness. You guys are awesome. You're literally
that's funny.
cracking me up.
Great. Great.
Aaron says July. So is July the possible release dates for
Son of the Metna, maybe? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Aaron.
It's exciting.
Just so you know, Aaron, we want to make it a comic book. No, he's going to be like, I don't publish comic books. Stop it.
Well, everybody who's watching, Shytei is fantastic. She's got a website. She's on Goodreads, everywhere. So I've actually attached all of her links on the video, so you can follow her wherever you like. And when you do buy her books, please make sure you actually leave a review. They are so important. You've got no idea how important they are for authors.
Thank you.
You know, that they do go a long way, because they basically tell other readers whether it's worth reading or not. So please review. It is so important. James says, I'll have to get back to you on that with regards to the...
Oh, wow. He knows the guy who's trying to get that, just dump the book in the screenplay.
Yes, so interesting.
Cool.
But as I said, I would imagine you're probably better off, you know, if it's just going to help you format it and structure it, and then you can tweak it, great. But you definitely, it does sound like you need the more personal touch, James, considering what Paul Shytei's had to go through to get it down to 120 pages.
Yeah, we'll just have it do all the stuff, all the interior, exterior, all that stuff, and then we'll comb through and say, okay, emotionally, this is the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds awesome.
Like a plan. Shane says, how can we see your film, the one that got lots of awards?
Oh, very nice. Man, that's it. The Wolves. So we did 2. So off of the same screenplay. So it gets complicated when you are doing this on a budget. So I wrote the short screenplay, and then I wrote the feature-length screenplay. And then we only had the money to shoot one scene from the short screenplay, and that is The Wolf. And then we were able to do an Indiegogo campaign and got enough money to shoot the 20-page short screenplay, which is called The Wolves. And that one, I believe, is on Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Wow, fantastic.
Why am I? Oh my God, I'm terrible. So I think at least I know it's on Amazon Prime. The Wolves is, and I think The Wolf might be on there too. But yeah,
Wonderful.
The Wolves. The Wolves, Souls Travel in Packs.
I absolutely love it. If you're not sure, Google it.
Yes, because Google should get you there.
Shytei is all over the place, and if you type in Shytei and the name of the movie, then you should get all the links pop up. But that's very, very good to know. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. There, Aaron's jumped in. Look, he says, I think The Wolves is on Netflix. There we go. Again, make sure you leave reviews.
Thank you so much for saying that. I always forget to say that, and then I'm like, yeah. learning.
Do you know what? I've got to tell you, Shytei, I never, until I actually became an author myself, I never truly appreciated how important book reviews are to authors, to the point I actually went back and made a list of all the books I'd read, and I tried to review as many of them as I could, because I suddenly realized how important they were.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good of you. So sweet. Yeah. That's amazing that you did that, because it's true. It's really important.
Helps. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Really little helps.
Yep.
Now, Shytei has very kindly offered to do a book giveaway. So all you have to do to enter Shytei's giveaway is to share her interview. You can share it on any platform, whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, share it. Tag me so I can see that you've shared it, and you will get entered into Shytei's giveaway draw for your chance to win either an ebook or a paperback copy of her upcoming book. Oh, so exciting!
It's going to be so weird.
It's wonderful. And if any of you want any news and updates as to the book and all the details that goes with it, go on to Shytei's website or her social media pages, because she's here on Facebook as well, and you can see all her posts and updates, and it's so super exciting. Now, I will, as most of you who are watching knows, I recently created a new podcast for the Witty Writers Show. So Shytei's interview will be put on the podcast too. So if you want to listen to it while you're driving or supposedly working, you can. It's available to listen to on, oh my gosh, I've got to try and remember all this, Shytei. It's on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, and I can't remember the rest, but it's everywhere.
You go, girl. That's so much work. Oh my heck. It's just a full-time job. That is beautiful. Congratulations on all of that. Oh my heck. It's amazing.
We are having to reformat the Witty Writers Show. So you guys are all the first to know. So unfortunately, because of time constraints, I'm having to cut down on author interviews and concentrate more on interviewing professionals, where everybody can ask questions and everything else. Right. I will be doing the odd occasional interview, but
I'm glad I got in before you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Snuck in there under the.
But it is going to be a bit more structured, and hopefully we'll have some big names like Shytei coming on more often, which would be absolutely fantastic. But Shytei, you're an absolute pleasure to talk to. And I've got to say, if I didn't think it would bore everybody, I could talk to you about Star Wars and everything. So
oh yeah, we could just go on and on, huh?
Hours.
Everybody's like, okay, how do I end this? Let me out of this space.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh, you are so awesome. Thank you so much for being here and being so honest and fabulous with us. You are just incredible. You really are. Thank you, everybody, for watching, whether it's live or not. Shytei's interview will be shared on all platforms, so you can watch it wherever. You can actually watch it on YouTube as well, on my Goodreads page. And of course, as I said, you can listen to it on the podcast. And if you are an author and you need help, then please join Autumn Bardot and I's new group, which is Write Better, Author Smarter. And don't forget to check out Autumn's YouTube channel with all our helpful tips and advice, because they are invaluable. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Shytei. I love you too, my darling. And I hope you'll come back and talk to us again soon.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Really appreciate being here. Thank you, and everyone on the chat. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, my darling. And if you have got any questions, if you're not watching this live, please pop your comments and questions in the comments. And obviously, I and Shytei will keep track over the next week and answer any queries. And we will see you for the next Witty Writers Show. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.